I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10. Good to see you this Thursday, and thank you for taking a few minutes to get up to speed on world events. People in Southeast China are measuring the scope of the damage caused by a powerful typhoon that hit yesterday morning. It was called Typhoon Hato. It brought powerful winds and flooding to this region, and several deaths were blamed on the storm. One thing unique about it was that Hato wasn't initially very powerful as it moved toward Hong Kong. It was about the equivalent of an average tropical storm. But that changed in just 24 hours before it made landfall. Hato's wind speeds nearly doubled in that time before the storm crashed into the special administrative regions of Hong Kong and Macau. A local weather service said it was the strongest storm to hit the area in 5 years. Hato's maximum wind speeds were around 108 miles per hour, which is almost the strength of a Category 3 hurricane. It made landfall during high tide, bringing large waves, flooding, and damage to the coast. Schools, businesses, and the stock market were closed. And then, as Hato moved west over China, it passed over a densely populated area. More than 60 million people were in the path of the system. The threat wasn't as great inland, though. Typhoons, like hurricanes, are fueled by warm water, and they generally lose their strength as they pass over land.
Typhoons are hurricanes, are cyclones. They are the same thing, just in different oceans. A lot like a hot cake is a flapjack, is a pancake, is a short stack. If you are west of the dateline, so west of Hawaii, north of the equator, you're a typhoon. If you're in the Atlantic or the Pacific, around America, you are a hurricane. And if you're around the Indian Ocean or in the Southern Hemisphere, you're a cyclone. So it's not out of the question for a hurricane to become a typhoon if it moves over the dateline. In fact, after crossing the international dateline, Hurricane Genevieve turned into Typhoon Genevieve a few years ago.
10-second trivia. Which of these constellations is also known as the Hunter? The Pleiades, Orion, Taurus, or Hercules? One of the most recognizable constellations in the night sky, Orion is also known as the Hunter. And NASA is hoping to use its new Orion spacecraft to hunt new territory in deep space. The contractor building it says the latest version of Orion was turned on for the first time this week. It was an important milestone for the program. NASA's been working on Orion since 2011, and it's had its share of setbacks. An unmanned test flight of the craft that had been planned for November was pushed back until at least 2019 because of concerns about safety, technical issues, and high costs. NASA spent almost $14 billion on Orion. That doesn't include the additional billions it spent on developing the rocket that could get Orion out of this world. Still, the spacecraft is expected to have a lot of capability, and CNN's Rachel Crane was able to take a seat inside.
NASA's new heavy-lift rocket.
The dawn of Orion and a new era of American space exploration.
Together with the spacecraft Orion, which will go on top of the rocket, humans could explore our solar system deeper than ever before.
There's only 2 of us right now in here, and you're saying this thing could fit up to 6.
And we got an inside look at what that new spacecraft looks like.
Could we even survive 21 days as the 2 of us?
It'd be wild, yeah.
Orion will take up to 6 astronauts into deep space for 21 days.
Is there any way we can get inside these chairs here, you think?
Yes.
How is Orion outfitted to get us to deep space?
State-of-the-art heat shield to protect the crew on entry, parachute systems, a very lightweight system. So Orion is, over 40% composites, which means it's light. One of the things special about Orion is the size. So 4 people in 21 days gives you a lot of capability, whether it's exploring an asteroid or on the surface of a planet.
And why 21 days?
Well, 21 days gets you really into these high orbits around the moon, which allows you to either do missions at the moon or do transfers onto asteroids or onto Mars. So it's about the right duration.
For a journey to Mars, the crew would have to transfer from Orion to a larger habitat.
If you're going to go to Mars, which is somewhere up to a 1.5 to 3 year mission, you need more volume, you need bigger HAB module, more food.
Orion still doesn't have an exact destination, but whether it's the moon or Mars, it's going to take a powerful rocket to get it out there.
Next, plastics. They're lightweight, many are strong, they're easy to make, they're used in everything from cars to construction to electronics. The screen you're watching this on is probably surrounded by plastic. But if they're not recycled, it can take hundreds of years for plastics to decompose in the environment, and that's a growing problem, especially at sea.
The South Pacific Ocean. A vast marine landscape, a precious part of our Earth. But take a closer look and scientists say it's becoming a plastic garbage dump.
Here I am standing on High-Zex Buoy Island.
Meet Captain Charles Moore, founder of Algalita Marine Research and Education, a non-profit group dedicated to solving the sea's plastic pollution problem. In 1997, Captain Moore discovered a massive garbage patch in the North Pacific. Now his team has confirmed the existence of another further south off the coast of Chile and Peru. Captain Moore estimates it to be about 2 million square kilometres, larger than Mexico. Here's how it formed. Winds around a persistent high-pressure system drive ocean currents, creating a vortex known as a gyre, causing debris to collect in a central location.
I call it a plastic soup. If you think of the ocean as the liquid in a soup, we've gone from, creamy to extra chunky.
Captain Moore and his team spent months trawling the South Pacific collecting samples, from large objects to plastic the size of a grain of rice.
The surface waters are where we see the debris, and it is mostly particulate. The size class that's most common is between 1 and 3 millimeters in diameter. But we find interesting objects. For instance, a lot of tubs that are used in sorting fish in the fisheries that are manufactured in New Zealand. We found a lot of fishing buoys, and of course, the most common things that we find out there are the floating bottles and the bottle caps.
The plastic poses a major threat to marine life. Small lanternfish come to the surface at night to feed on plankton. Many eat small microplastics instead and are then unable to swim back to the bottom, the plastic acting like a buoy. Not only do these fish ingest chemicals from the plastic, but so do the larger fish who eat them. Algalita Marine Research found 35% of lanternfish in the previously discovered North Pacific garbage patch are eating plastic. The researchers are now sifting through the samples to try to get a better understanding of what types of plastic they've collected. But Captain Moore says it's our throwaway society that needs to change.
We have to fear plastic for not only what it does to the marine environment, but what it's doing to us. We need to fear it, and we need to respect it because it is being treated like waste, like trash, like it's just this wrapper that you throw away. And we've got to have a new attitude about that in which we realize that it must have an afterlife. It must be reincarnated. It must be part of a circular economy, or it's going to end up in the ocean and destroy marine life. So we are now working with plastic companies, with Coca-Cola, with Dow. We're working desperately to reshape the thinking of those who are making this stuff, to create this infrastructure to take it back, to have a circular economy.
Linda Kincaid, CNN.
This gets a 10 out of 10 for cuteness. It's a joey, a baby koala, and though she was born at the Australia Zoo in January, she's just started leaving her mother's pouch and appearing to the public. Her white fur that you see gives her a very rare color for a koala. She's not technically an albino koala, which is actually more common. The zoo says her mother has had other joeys with lighter than usual fur, but that this girl really stands out. The quality care she's getting is part of her mother's koala intuition. She's koalamish about letting the juvenile joey koala all over the place. Sights to see on your next trip to Koala Australia? This certainly qualifies. And those are all the puns I can bear on CNN 10. I'm Koala Zeus. Come back on Friday.